All right, hello everybody. I have Melanie from Fitness Rangers here, a trainer, and today we're going to be going over some assessments specifically to look at why somebody might have issues in different pressing variations, so either overhead or horizontally. So, Melanie, what I'm going to have you do, first one, can you face the wall that way? What we're going to do is a pretty standard test here. It's the complete shoulder range of motion from the FMS. And what she's going to do is go ahead, make a couple fists for me. And what we're trying to see is, Melanie, too, for you, go ahead and put your hand up like this for the camera. That one work. So we're going to take the distance of her hand, and we're going to see if she can get her fists into a position that reaches pretty close together behind her back. And so we're going to check external and internal rotation of each shoulder separately. You can relax the arm. So fists. So make sure the individual has their fist clench. Go ahead and reach right arm up behind your head, and then reach your left arm back, and then bring them together. Now what you're looking for here, so Melanie's pretty good. This is about within one hand's length. So anything that's about 1 to 1.5 hands length, that means that they have the prerequisite external rotation here and internal rotation here. One thing that we look at is she flexing at the low back to get to that position? Is she reaching? And then the other thing too here, she's got a little winging of this shoulder blade, which means that there's probably a little bit of a lack of internal rotation through the shoulder. Melanie said that she just bench pressed yesterday, so that will actually contribute to the fact of not being able to have the prerequisite internal rotation on the shoulder. So the down arm will look at internal rotation of the shoulder, and the up arm will look at external rotation of the shoulder. Go ahead and do the other side, just for the camera. And so we're looking at here. So yeah, on this one, she's a little bit tighter on internal rotation on this shoulder. This elbow, vertical line, is about the same on both sides. And as you can see, there's a lot more wing on this side. So Melanie's a little bit more restricted on internal rotation on this shoulder. So there's a bunch of, go ahead and relax. There's a bunch of different foam rolling and mobility self-myofascial release drills that you can do to help with internal rotation of the shoulder. And bench pressing is one of the things. A lot of horizontal pressing will limit that, just as a note. So there, we looked at internal, external rotation of the shoulder, prerequisites for being able to get into the overhead position safely and press horizontally safely. Let's go ahead, and the other thing that a lot of people don't really consider is the flexibility and mobility in the upper back. Because if we can't be mobile through our upper spine, our thoracic spine, we will find mobility other places, usually in the low back, which is why some individuals who will overhead press might actually feel tension in their low back because they'll have to arch so that they can get into the overhead position. So to see if we have the mobility, Melanie, go ahead on your knees. Go ahead that way, feet this way. Good, and then what I want you to do, we're going to lock the spine in place. So I want you to sit back, butt to your heels. Good. Now go elbows together in between your knees. There we go. So while she's sitting back here, this is locking the low back so that when she's moving, we're going to be looking specifically at if she's mobile through the upper back. Go ahead and take your right hand, put it on the back of your head. Now keep your left elbow in between the knees. And what I want you to do is lift that elbow, keep your hand firmly behind your head so that way we can't bias flexion through the wrist to cheat and make sure that we're actually measuring through the thoracic spine. And I want you to just rotate up towards the ceiling. Good, hold it. Good, so right here, Melanie is actually pretty decent. She's above a 45-degree angle. Go ahead and rest. And what I'm going to have you do is actually pivot this way so we can get it for the camera, your range of motion. Let's do the other side real quick. See how they both look. So hand on the head firmly, right? So they're not flexing through the wrist. We're locking the back by kneeling back to the heels, and she's got her elbow square in between her knees. So go ahead and rotate this elbow up. Good, so hold that. Hold a little tension here for a second. So right here, this is the angle we're looking at. So Melanie's pretty good. She's probably somewhere closer to like 60 or 70. So thoracic mobility for her is not an issue. Going down a little bit. So if somebody's stuck right below 45, this is going to be an issue if somebody's trying to go overhead. They don't have the mobility to extend through their spine so that they can come completely overhead position safely. Go ahead and relax. And so those two drills, you can go ahead and come up. Those two drills are key mobility assessments to screen if somebody can actually get overhead safely without compensating somewhere else. So if you're having somebody, if they're having issues with overhead positions and you're trying to figure out why, these two drills will assess their mobility again in internal rotation, external rotation in the shoulder, and also mobility in the upper back. All prerequisites to press safely overhead. Scene.